My name is Anna Maria. A lot of you guys are very familiar with me, but we have had a lot of influx of new members like me that are in my age group that are suffering from the same things that I was suffering from, and I know you guys are wanting to hear how I solved a lot of those issues. I figured I would go live, and if any of you join me, I can answer questions that you might have specifically. I'm gonna show you what I normally do for breakfast every single day. So I started incorporating soy into my diet because my sister, who's a physician that helped us in our health journey, told me that as a woman, soy, and like I said, she is a physician. She specializes in obesity medicine. If you guys go read our Forks Over Knives interview that Forks Over Knives did of us, you will read our entire story. If you go up to the featured section of our page, you can also access our story in our own words, not just the Forks Over Knives article. I talk about my sister. She is the one that helped us in this journey. She not only helped me, but she helped my husband, and she still does. One of the things that she had me do is eat soy yogurt every single day. And I know for those of you that are skeptical and that you guys have heard that soy is bad for women and that soy causes cancer, I can send you all the articles and you can look them up on our page. You can just search it with the word soy myths. Up at the top of the page, there's a little magnifying glass. You can search for anything on our page that way. You can type in the word soy myths, and I have posted all of the articles and all of the medical information that my sister gave to me to convince me that the things that I had read on social media and the things that I had heard were incorrect. So she corrected me into giving me correct education as to why soy is beneficial to women. So she herself is a breast cancer survivor, and she takes soy and she eats soy, tries to eat a portion of soy in her life. I incorporate it every single day. And when I did it and when I listened to her, I was beginning in our health journey, in our whole food plant-based journey. So I not only was beginning our whole food plant-based journey, but I incorporated the soy every day and didn't really think about it. And I wasn't looking for a miracle cure. I was just doing, and I wasn't looking for a quick fix. I've said this before, I'll say it again. This is not a quick fix. You have to choose this as a lifestyle. You have to choose health and not focus on losing weight and not focus on fixing something quickly. This is going to take time. The weight loss will take time, and fixing your health will take time. And sometimes the body will yo-yo up and down while you're fixing it. So I started eating my soy every single day, and every single day I would make myself my own soy yogurt. Here's my soy yogurt that I make in my Instant Pot. You can search for the recipe on our page. Very easy. It's 2 ingredients, no fuss, no mess, nothing gets dirty. So I would make myself my soy yogurt, and I would then turn it into chia yogurt, which I'm going to show you in a second. So now I eat an entire jar in 2 breakfasts. So this is a 12-ounce jar, which means that I'm eating at least 6 ounces of my soy yogurt for breakfast every single day, which is a huge portion. And then I top it usually with an entire pint of berries. So I'm going to put half of these berries in here. I do this every single day. And my husband does berries with his oatmeal. He's an oatmeal guy, so if he gets hungry, he's going to come in here and he's going to heat up his oatmeal. He can just do it in the background. But I would then put chia into my yogurt. Let me go get my granola. Oh, here it is. Here's my granola. And then the next thing that I've added to my soy yogurt is I will sprinkle one of these little tablespoons of my granola. So I have a tablespoon in here And sometimes I'll do one, sometimes I'll do 1.5 of these little tablespoons of granola. My sister taught me how to make this granola. It has protein, it has hemp hearts, it has oatmeal, it has a lot of ingredients that add not only nutrition, but they fill you up, they satiate you, they add good protein because I have pepitas in here, which are pumpkin seeds, but they're pepitas, not just the regular pumpkin seeds. And this is my breakfast every single day, every single day. So I sometimes will drizzle a tiny little bit of maple syrup, but I've started not even doing the maple syrup because the granola is sometimes sweet enough and the berries are sweet enough to where I don't need it. But if that day the berries are a little tart or anything like that, I might put a tiny bit of maple syrup. Usually I try not to. So I still have half the jar left for my breakfast tomorrow, but it's not going to be enough. So I want this yogurt to turn into chia yogurt, and all I'm going to do, let me see if I can open this. Sometimes my jars, I worked out yesterday, so I got my muscles. So I just take 3 tablespoons of chia, and I put it into my soy yogurt that I made in my Instant Pot. I'm actually going to do 3.5. So I put the chia seeds in my soy yogurt, and then I'm going to stir them up with a fork because I feel like with the fork it stirs up better. And then if the jar is not filled up to the very top with soy yogurt, I might add some milk to it. I might add some more soy milk to it, and the chia seeds is still going to end up making it into a thick yogurt because the chia thickens anything that you add to it. So I'm still going to end up with a thick chia. But this jar is pretty much filled to the top, so I'm not going to add any soy milk to it. But I could, and like I said, with 4 tablespoons of chia, I'm going to do another half, so 5 tablespoons of chia. There is my soy yogurt for tomorrow. So this is ready for tomorrow. I keep my jars of soy yogurt in my fridge, and they are all sitting in my fridge like this, ready for me to eat. Some of them are without the chia and they're plain because I use them in soups, I use them in ingredients, I use them in muffins. I also use them as soy yogurt, sour cream, an infinite amount of uses. We use this for everything. So I keep my soy yogurts like this in the fridge, and they're just going to thicken up. This one's a little bit more liquid because the chia hasn't thickened it up yet. So, but tomorrow it will be fine overnight, or even in a couple hours if I wanted it to. And look, I made a chia mess here. Okay, so that is what I do every single day to get soy yogurt, to get soy in my body. But I also try to eat a portion of soy in another way, whether it during one day, in a tofu, soy in another way. If you really don't like soy, the taste of soy milk, or tofu, you can make things like a soy chocolate pudding by using silken tofu. And you're eating 1 chocolate pudding every day because it's not going to have, if you make it whole and it's only going to have cocoa or cacao and the silken tofu and a little bit of maple syrup, you can eat 1 of them every day. It's going to add soy into your body. You could eat the edamame pods like they do in Japanese restaurant and steam them in your microwave and sit in the afternoon and eat them as a snack. Not only will it be a great snack, it'll be a great filler, it'll be filled with protein, but it'll have the soy that as a woman you need to combat the things that I wanted to get rid of. Having said that, once I started it, I wasn't paying attention. I was hopeful that my sister was telling me that my menopause symptoms could be alleviated by those things. But I was more concerned about my health, and then ultimately I started losing weight So I was focusing on those things. But one day I noticed that I wasn't having hot flashes anymore, that I wasn't waking up 10,000 times in the middle of the night, that I was sleeping. The way that I noticed was that I slept the entire night for the first time. So now I can sleep an entire night, have a good night's sleep, and I know that it's tied to not just my lifestyle way of eating, but my soy addition into my body every single day. It's a choice that I've made. I have this breakfast every single day. So, and sometimes if I don't have it, I miss it. Like my husband misses his oatmeal. We might even make a different breakfast. Our son was here for Christmas and we made different dishes for breakfast that we all enjoyed that were plant-based. And we both still missed our oatmeal and our soy yogurt. So on the second or third day, I decided that I was still going to have the breakfast that we were all sharing together a little bit, and then I was still going to have my soy yogurt on the side. So that's how much I love it, but not only that, I love how it made my body feel, because now I don't feel the things that I was feeling in menopause, which were the aches and the joint pains and the reflux, the acne that I was suffering from during menopause. I had horrific acne like a teenager. The sleepless nights, the hot flashes, you name it, I was having it. The reflux was horrific. All of those things got solved. Having said that, it's a combination and a lifestyle. I have chosen to eat the soy every day, but I also choose the lifestyle too. So we focused on our whole foods, plant-based lifestyle. Now, I know a lot of you are overwhelmed with that, and you're overwhelmed with the whole plant-based. I was too. And I am a cook. I know how to cook. I cook really well. And I can whip up recipes without recipe books. I don't use recipe books. And having said that, it was super overwhelming to go into plant-based. So I relied on my sister a lot for her recipes, for the things that she was doing for her family, for how to combine foods, for how to make my plate, how to arrive at it, and how to make sure that I put the proper nutrition on my plate so that we didn't have deficiencies, so that we had all the vitamins and minerals in our bodies that all the food needed to provide for reversing the diseases that we wanted to start reversing, like diabetes and high cholesterol and high blood pressure. We wanted to reverse all those things. So we went ahead and dove in. We cleaned our fridge, pantry, freezer. I gave everything away. I know it sounds overwhelming to a lot of people, and a lot of people want to ingest it into their body and then start. And I knew that if we did that, we would delay for months, we would potentially delay for years, we would make it a painful process, and we would never be successful. So we emptied our fridge, freezer, pantry, and then we took everything to a donation center that we could. We took it to another donation center that received open items, and we took it to a homeless place that even received leftover foods. So everything got cleaned out. My pantry, my fridge, and freezer were empty when I started. And then I went to the grocery store, and that was overwhelming too, because shopping, not knowing what food is good and what food actually is whole food. I thought I was cooking healthy. I thought I was buying lean. I thought I was buying low fat and fat free and all of this. None of that stuff is good for you. None of that stuff is whole because it's filled with tons of ingredients in the label. I have posts in our page that talk about reading labels, use the word reading labels, use the word, fridge, my contents of my fridge, my contents of my countertop. I've shown what my grocery runs look like. So I took a week to go to different grocery stores to figure out the different ingredients in the grocery stores, and I spent weeks with my sister on the phone pestering her, saying, okay, is this a whole food? Is this a real food? Is this a label? What am I looking for? And I arrived at a couple of things. The cleanest ingredients are when it's just the food that you're intending to buy. So if you're intending to buy black beans, it should only say black beans on that can. If it says anything else, salt, sugar, oil, it's not whole food anymore. So it should only say black beans and water. If you're buying a bag of rice, it should only say rice. It shouldn't say any other preservatives, salt, nothing added. If you are buying spaghetti, it should be whole grain spaghetti. It should be red lentil spaghetti. It should be chickpea spaghetti, not a white enriched flour, not a durum wheat. It should be whole durum wheat or whole wheat, whole grain. It should be made with a whole ingredient, and that's all it should say. Whole wheat flour, water, that's it. And no salt, no oils, nothing. I started getting really shocked at the things that they put in our food, which later ultimately made me mad because I thought I was a good mom that was feeding my family really good foods. And I had that conversation with my grown son this week when I basically apologized to him and I said, if I had known better, I would have fed you better. And I was that mom that made the food myself. I made the baby food for him. I fed him nothing but what I thought was the most nutritious going into his body. But once you start grocery shopping the processed items that we start giving our kids, the healthiest cereal, the healthiest oatmeal, they're all crap, to put it that way. The bagged oatmeals are filled with sugar and extra added ingredients. All our kids need are whole rolled oats. Maybe if they want to, a little bit of maple syrup for the sweetness. That's it. Add berries, add other things. It shouldn't be marshmallows and chocolate chips or any of that. So I had to relearn how to purchase my items in the grocery store. I spent a little time. I started studying the wholeness of the ingredients of what are in that can, the box, the bag are what matters. And the secondary thing that I look at, I make sure that there's no sodium, and I make sure that the sodium is 0 or the closest to 0. If it does not make it the closest to 0 or 0, then that item does not come in my house. And I either cook it from scratch myself, like chickpeas. If I can't find chickpeas in a can that have 0 sodium, then I'm going to cook them from scratch. But if I want to take a shortcut, I'm going to use a can that says 0 sodium. The third thing that I look at is the saturated fat. Even plant foods have saturated fat. And a lot of vegans and a lot of vegetarians fail and are overweight and start having issues in their later midlife because they don't know this and they've been eating vegan and vegetarian. This is why I tell you, our site is not vegan and it's not vegetarian. We are whole food plant-based because I like to stress that even plant-based can be unhealthy. If you're buying processed plant-based, if you're buying Beyond Burgers, you're buying processed crap, just like the standard American diet that they're selling us when they're selling us food with added sugars, sodium, preservatives, and all the extra added ingredients. So you just need to make sure that you read those labels for the whole, for no sodium, and you also need to make sure that the saturated fat is 0 or the closest to 0 that you can come to. You need to get familiarized with those things because in the beginning I made mistakes that I would grab something and I would be so excited that it was a whole item, and then I would get it home and then the sodium would be too high or it would have too much saturated fat. So we need to also look at those things. Having said that, plants that are not in a can, a bag, or in any way processed by the grocery store, like walnuts, avocados, coconut, nuts, and nut butters, all have, those are I think my 5 that I always refer to. Nuts, nut butters, coconut, olives are also in there, and avocado and coconut. So 6, because I always like to say the olives too. Those items are really good and healthy plant items. However, if you're a patient that has conditions, if you have heart conditions, if you have high blood pressure, if you have high cholesterol, if you have diabetes, if your cholesterol is beginning to rise, your A1C is starting to change, and you're starting having issues, you have to look at those items and use them mindfully. I'm not telling you not to use them. You have to know your own medical history and know where you lie and what I just said. We choose to use them very mindfully. We do use them. We haven't omitted them completely, but we are very mindful. And by mindful, I mean we might have avocado once every 2 weeks. Nuts, we have a little more often, but it might be once or twice a week. And it's a very controlled portion, and it's a portion that is for one person, or as controlled, even less than it can be. If we can get away with a little bit of less than the actual serving size, we will do that, because it has a lot of saturated fat, and not only is it bad for your body and your health, but for losing weight. So a lot of vegans and vegetarians that are overweight are overeating these items. And they're eating the processed vegan and vegetarian foods. So if you want to lose weight and you're a vegan and a vegetarian and you're wondering why, look at those items: the coconut, the avocado, the olives, look at the nuts, look at the nut butters. Those things have saturated fat, and if you're consuming them too much in your diet on a daily basis, you are going to have problems losing weight. You're going to hold it. It's going to stick to your body. You have to look at it like you've cleaned up your body from the bad fats and the bad things that should be in your body, and that fat is going to cling into it. It's going to cling into the bodily parts of your body, like your arteries too, and it's going to start clogging the arteries, just like the crap food, like the bad food, like the processed food. So moderation, mindfulness, that is key. So those are the key points to those of you that are a little bit overwhelmed right now with plant-based. You are open to ask me questions in this post. Ask them in the bottom of the comments. I am always up for that. I have done posts about reading labels, my kitchen, my refrigerator, how to do the plating. I'm going to be doing some going forward, because there's other things that people keep asking me about, especially about the plate and what we do to portion our plate to lose weight. For example, my husband told me, I want to lose a couple more pounds. I don't need to lose any more weight, so I'm maintaining. But so since he wants to lose weight, his plate needs to look a certain way. His plate and my plate are different. So when you learn the plates that I'm showing you, you have to play with it and see where your body lies in losing weight. So for my plate to lose weight, it's going to look a little bit different than my plate to maintain. And my plate to maintain is what my husband uses to lose weight. So he can get away with eating a little bit more of the things that I can't eat, because my body would retain it and would turn it into fat that I hold in my body and weight that I won't be able to lose, where he can eat that plate and it will help him lose weight. So cruciferous veggies are our key for the half of the plate that needs to be filled. All the veggies that are non-starchy, we fill our plate mostly with those, but we ensure that we have the other 2 sections of the plate with the protein and with the grain, which would be a multigrain, or a rice, which would be a multi-rice, like black rice, red rice, or brown rice. Or we would have a pasta that would be a multigrain, that would be red lentil or whole grain or some type of whole pasta. Or it would be a potato, or it would be a sweet potato, or a starchy vegetable. And then the protein part would be anything that constitutes protein, which would be beans and legumes in a plant-based diet. So those of you that aren't 100% plant-based diet, If you're still eating animal, you need to make sure that that portion is not necessarily the 4-ounce portion or the little fist portion that we've all been taught throughout our life, but figure out your plate balance. So that is another key thing that we do. The other thing that we do to always maintain this lifestyle successful, we don't fast, we eat. We don't restrict, we eat. We don't count, we don't track, we eat. Once you learn what foods are so wholesome, so whole, and so good for your body, you're just gonna be able to eat. There's no more food noise in your head going, oh, I can't eat that because I'm gonna gain weight. Oh, I can't eat that because it's bad for me. You're just not gonna feel that. The cravings go away, the sugar cravings go away, all the things that are talking to you and the food noise in your head, I'm gonna gain weight and I'm not gonna be able to lose weight and this and that, all that noise leaves your head. You get food freedom and you can just freely eat the things that you now have in your fridge that you know you can reach to because you have made them whole, you have prepared them, you have made them in the way that you're supposed to be eating them. I can open my fridge right now, make lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever. I can whip it up in 10 minutes, and I've shown it in many different videos. Food prep, don't meal prep. That's the other key to our lifestyle. Food prep, don't meal prep. I was even teaching our grown son that yesterday because I made him some airplane food to take with him that was going to be adequate for him to eat so that he's satiated, and he eats a lot because he's an athlete, so he eats a lot. He needs a lot of protein, and I made it all plant-based, and I packed it into 2 large big containers for him to take, and I taught him how to make a giant batch of that, section them out into meals that he can just stick in his fridge and then take out and eat either before work or take it to work with him. And what I did is I sent him with 2 big containers to take on the plane, one for breakfast or lunch, and then one for later in the evening for dinner because he's going to have long flights home. So when you plan and you go to the grocery store, I bring it home and I prep it. I take one day. The day that I go to the grocery store, I knock it out. It's horrible. It's a chore. I end up in a bad mood. It doesn't matter. My kitchen gets torn apart. It's flying. There's stuff going everywhere. My husband knows it's chaotic, but I prep everything that I can. I cut up half the vegetables, half I don't cut up because I'm going to use them in different manners. And that way I can reach and make bowls in 5 to 10 minutes. If I put some things to cook, I saute some vegetables, I'll put them away in Tupperwares, and those things then become stir fries, or they'll become a veggie bowl, or they'll be part of something. So food prepping is key. It saves you so much time. I work less in the kitchen now than I ever did. I was a home chef, a home cook, where I just prepared my meals every single night, and sometimes leftovers was my food prep, and that's what saved me from being in the kitchen. Now I spend less time in the kitchen because my food is always available and I can just grab and whip something up quickly. Right now I know that I already have, you know, some cut up cucumbers, cut up tomatoes. I have a mixture of a salad that can be a side dish for a meal. I can take some rice and top it with beans that are in the fridge that have already been flavored, and I can have a meal in 5 minutes heated up in the microwave. So that is another key thing that you need to do so that it's not overwhelming. In the beginning, you need to make sure and eat enough. That's another problem. There's no counting or tracking. A lot of people don't eat enough. So the key to this is being satiated. Always staying one step ahead of your hunger. One step ahead of being hangry or hungry. So when we began, we did breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, dessert, snack. Every single day. To the point where my husband was like, I can't eat anymore. And I was like, okay, you don't have to eat this, but I would still offer it. So he was so satiated that he didn't even need all the division of foods that I had done. Now we don't need to do so many meals because we are just satiated. I'm standing here talking to you, and this morning we dropped our son off at the airport, and I took one of our green power muffins, microwaved it at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're on our way at 5:45 in the morning to the airport, and I ate that green muffin, and I am still satiated because it's a green power muffin that is packed with power. It's packed with nutrition. It has oatmeal, it has spinach, it has flax, it has things in it that are going to keep me full and satiated. Fiber is going to keep you satiated. Plants, starch, the things that you've always been told that you shouldn't be eating because of diabetes, this and that. Please go read our story, because I know those of you trying to reverse your diabetes, you might not believe that you can eat the carbs. Yes, you can, but not simple carbs. You can eat complex carbs and take away the simple carbs, and your A1C is going to start dropping. But if you keep the simple carbs and you keep the fats and the saturated fats in the animal, your A1C is going to keep going up and not change. So we were shocked. My husband had tried to lower his A1C for 25 years. He was on medication, and the only thing that did it was actually eating complex carbs, changing to this lifestyle, and for the first time in 25 years, he saw his A1C drop. And now it is normal numbers, no medication. So it can be done. Some people it takes longer than others. If your A1C numbers are worse, if you are on more medication, it might take you longer. For him, I think at 6 or 7 months, he was already off this medication, but the body still yo-yos because it's trying to make it work. It's trying to make the insulin work, and it's trying to figure out that you are going to feed it the right things. So I would say that it takes a full year to prove that the numbers are sticking and staying. And having said that, you need to continue the lifestyle, because if not, you'll just reverse right back into bad numbers, medications, and all that. We prefer working this lifestyle than working at going to doctors, paying for medications, paying for doctor's visits, paying for the complications, paying for the pains and what we were feeling in our body. Putting forth the effort in this lifestyle is much better than paying for the life of working at your health but being sick while doing it. So we would rather work while being healthy at doing it. So keep that in mind. So those things are things that are helpful to you to maintain satiation. Eat regularly in the beginning. Plan simple meals. Come up with a plan. Look at our 14-day diary that I have done, and look at what we ate over 14 days. I even included what we ate out at restaurants so that you guys could see. We are 95% plant-based. 5% is seafood, no other animal. So fish, shrimp, lobster, anything that's seafood we will eat, but only outside of this house. I don't bring it in the house. Unless it's a special occasion and we're having people over, I might make fish. But I try 99% of the time to feed everyone that's here without animal. And I haven't had anybody complain yet. We have pizza parties that are awesome. The pizzas are delicious. They're plant-based. I will have dinners that are fully plant-based. And if I absolutely have to have an animal, it's going to be fish and only fish. Doesn't mean that I'm going to eat it, doesn't mean that my husband's going to eat it, or I might make them bring it as a potluck, but all my other dishes are plant-based. And if anybody battles you on, oh, disgusting, I can't eat plant-based, I'm sorry, but everybody in the world eats side dishes, and all those side dishes are usually plant-based, or grain-based, or any type of starch-based, like pasta or whatever. So you just switch it to a whole pasta, you switch it to a potato, you switch it to a sweet potato. You switch it to vegetables and make a casserole dish that's delicious. An enchilada that's plant-based that's delicious. It's side dishes. That's all there is. Once they get over the psyche that is plant-based, then they realize, oh, it's just a side dish. But we call them star dishes because all of our dishes are star dishes on the plate. We don't have side dishes. All of our dishes are delicious on the plate. So they're all the star of the show. So staying satiated is going to be key. To stay satiated, you need to have fiber, you need to have starchy vegetables, but in the moderation that the plate balance requires. You have to have beans and legumes for the protein and also the fiber and also filling you. You're going to have cruciferous veggies and all the veggies that are not starchy, so that all of those things fill your stomach up and give you the satiation, so where you're not hungry in 5 minutes. If you notice, when you go to a restaurant and you stuff yourself and you eat and gorge, like maybe some of us might have done over Christmas, I can tell you that I didn't do that over Christmas, and I felt satiated but not overly satiated. But some of us that did go to restaurants in the past, and you eat way too much and you come out undoing your belt and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so full. 30 minutes later or an hour later, that fullness is gone. And you could probably then be stuffing your face with dessert or something else, because that satiation is gone. So this is not being full. This is not being uncomfortable full. This is a satiation that's going to take your cravings away. That's going to take your food noise away of, oh, I want sugar. Oh, I want candy. I used to be a nerds girl. I had bags of nerds in my pantry. Don't even have them. Don't even crave them. And I'm not going to lie to you, during the entire time that we've been doing this, I have reached for some of the things that were my thing. Peeps for Easter, and nerds were my candy. Peeps for Easter, but all year. And I would stash them, and sometimes if I could find them, I would have them. And I would eat the whole little sleeve of Peeps. Only one sleeve, but I would eat it. And the little bag of nerds, that's like 3 or 4 servings, I would eat the whole thing. So I tried them. And I was like, I'm going to try one. And I'm going to try one Peep. And my taste buds had changed so much that the Peeps tasted disgusting, and they tasted like chemical. And my nerds did too. So that's how much your tongue and your body changes. But you have to give it a chance, and you have to live it as a lifestyle. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was going to bite into my nerd and be right back and be like, oh, my nerds, and have my nerds in the drawer. And oh, my Peeps. I took a risk doing it. But my body has changed. I have had things before that people have shared or brought, or have gone somewhere, and I have maybe taken a taste of that pie that I used to have, and I'm just going to have one bite. And when I taste it, it just doesn't taste the same anymore. When you start eating whole foods, it just tastes so much better. When you have control and your tongue changes and that salt is removed, the sugar, the fake salt, and everything that's exponential on your tongue and in your body, you really start tasting the food. The tomatoes and the vegetables and the things that I thought didn't taste like anything, it's because my tongue was numbed by the standard American diet foods that are sold at the grocery store. So it was numbed. It didn't know what it was tasting. It just tasted flat and the same. When I removed that, the vegetables started tasting like vegetables. Yeah, could they taste better? Yes, because we probably have a lot of pesticides and things in our vegetables, and they probably aren't the same as when Grandma grew them 50 years ago. But they taste a lot better to me now. And it has all to do with what I was putting in my body and the things that I was buying in the grocery store in the standard American diet. I'm going to see if you guys have any questions, because I can get winded. I hope that this covers the things that most of you are asking me, and the things that some of you might be overwhelmed about in doing this journey. It is not overwhelming. Just give it a chance. Start slow. Maybe be cutthroat about your starting like we were. It was very helpful to us, but you know yourself, maybe you can't be as cutthroat as we were. And use a basic first week diet. Don't overwhelm yourself trying to make it all gourmet and delicious. The first week you'll get overwhelmed. We did the same food, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We picked a couple of items that we could live with, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and our snacks. And I had muffins for snack and smoothie in the afternoon, so that we could just have a reliable meal, even if it wasn't the perfect meal. And in the beginning, I didn't satiate things. I didn't add nutrition. I didn't add so much nutrition to have that satiation, because I was still learning. So give yourself that grace of learning, And as you grow and as you learn, you're gonna add even more nutrition, and you're gonna feel satiated all the time. And you're gonna know that the pasta sauce that you used to have now has like 6 power ingredients that give you so much nutrition and satisfaction that you're always gonna be satiated. And more importantly, you're gonna know that you're feeding your family the most nutritious way. I wish I could do my son's upbringing again, because he's 27 and I feel like I, at 27, have less control of helping him. But he's willing, because he's seen his parents go through this body change and health change, and he sees us and he's asking questions and he's like, please show me. So he is willing. But if I had him as a little child, I would have had the opportunity to show him, not just for himself and his health, but for his future generations. So we have broken the generational cycle of the food traumas, the food cycle, the food eating, the incorrect health. You can too, but if you have little kids, you can share it with them so they can share it with their future generations, so they don't have the genetic diseases, because they are preventable. The genetic diseases are preventable. So go look at my videos. I talk about it. Dr. Esselstyn's book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, start with that one. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. Start with that book. It will enlighten you and it will really open your eyes. He is a cardiologist that has fact-based research, scientific research from his patients, and he has it on paper, 50 years worth of patients, and he has proven that you can reverse diseases, not just cardiology diseases, but other diseases, because of the research that he did. So read that book. Let me see if I have any questions, and because my husband's probably getting hungry too, he's lingering and he wants his oatmeal. So if he wants to fix it, he can. He can even show you how he fixes it. So,
hey foodies.
So let's see if you guys have any questions.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I don't see any questions, and we might get too long-winded if he starts doing his oatmeal, but you could potentially quickly tell him.
Oh, I can't live without this. I eat it every single day. I miss it when I don't. And it's really simple. This is a huge jar, 20 ounces or 32 ounces probably. And I think it's about 2.5 cups of whole rolled oats. I put a couple of tablespoons of chia, probably 2 or 3 tablespoons of flax, and 2 or 3 tablespoons of hemp hearts. And I prefer cinnamon, which is good for inflammation as well. And I put a little bit of that in there and just fill it to the top with soy milk, the West soy milk that Anna Marie always talks about, and that's it. And I let it sit for, I made this morning, so this has been sitting for like an hour or two, and it's probably already ready. And I scoop out half a bowl, and I usually put a little maple syrup on it. I love maple syrup. I could probably do with less maple syrup, but I like it. And it's whole, and it's good. And then I warm it up for usually 1 minute in the microwave and put some berries on top, and that's it. And this will keep me satiated for at least 4 hours. I usually have it around 8 a.m. and I'm usually not even thinking about food until 1. So anyway, that's it. This is my breakfast.
Where you heat up your berries in it too, right?
Yeah, I do. You gotta be careful though, because the berries might explode if you heat it up too long. That's why I only do it 1 minute, maybe 1 minute and 10 seconds, in an hour microwave. Any longer than that, the berries can explode and make a bit of a mess. So I only do it that long.
Okay, well, we're gonna have breakfast. It's a late breakfast today because we kind of napped in between dropping off the kid, and we did have the muffins when we were going towards the airport. And like I said, I'm still kind of a little satiated from the muffin, but I am gonna eat this, and that's how we stay satiated. Huge portion. We'll show you our portions. This is my portion, and that is his portion. It's a pretty big bowl, and because it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we will have this, and we probably will not even have a snack this afternoon, and we'll just have dinner. And I always have my 5 or 6 mandarins after dinner, whether I have dessert or not. So that is a thing. Yeah, I'm kind of addicted to them. I watch TV and I eat my mandarin. Haven't gotten sick because of them, so maybe that helps. So this is the milk that we use for everything. If you use any soy milk to make the soy yogurt, or if you use any milk plant-based, I really suggest this one. I'll show you what I'm talking about when reading food labels. So this says soy milk, water, soybeans. That's it.
Raise it up a little. It's
going to have only soybeans and water.
Yeah.
And we're going to have, it's a little blurry. Okay. It's going to have, look at how much protein it has. It has sodium, but it's natural sodium. It's not added sodium. And the way that we know that is because it's not in the ingredient label. It doesn't say sodium. There is sodium here, but it's only 25 milligrams, which is minimal. And it's natural, coming from the natural soybean. It does have saturated fat, but again, it's very minimal. It's 0.5. So the total fat, we don't even look at. We just look at the saturated fat. That is what we keep the lowest. So this one is really good because it's pure. It only has the soybeans and water. It makes a terrific soy yogurt that I make in the Instant Pot. You guys just search for my recipe. And that makes my soy yogurt, but he uses this also for his, for making his oatmeal. So the oatmeal that he just made himself is also going to be loaded with protein because it has this soy milk. So, there is another brand. I think it's called Eden Soy. Sprouts, Whole Foods, most grocery stores, even Walmart has this one. I order cases of them on Amazon. I order 12 of these in a case from Amazon. They deliver it to my door so I don't have to worry about it, and I keep them in my cupboard, and it takes me probably about 2 or 3 weeks to go through all 12. So if you guys have questions, drop them in the comments. We'll say bye now. Happy day.